Hello, and welcome to another iClone 7 Academy tutorial. Today's topic will be creating a pull-up animation. This tutorial will show you how to create a pull-up animation by creating some key poses, using some rich effectors, and then finally we will tweak that animation using the curve editor so you can get something more polished like this. So we have a ton of stuff to cover, so let's get started. We will start with a very basic motion. So let's go ahead and select the character, make sure that the tracks are being visible, and what I'm going to do is just play it for you so you can see what's happening here. As you can see, it's a very simple jump. Nothing fancy here, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the highest point of the jump and we are going to clip it. We're going to break the clip. So let's right click. I'm going to right click here on the bar here of the clip and go break. And then I'm going to go ahead and just separate this out like so. And as you can see, what's going to happen now is he's going to freeze at the height of his jump and then it's going to land right back again. So let's go ahead and animate the arm so he looks like he is reaching for the bar. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to double click here inside the clip to set some keyframes over there. And then I am going to go to the end of the clip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press the top bar of the clip and press the tab key. This will take me exactly to the end of the clip here. I'm going to select the hands. And I'm going to go and animate the hands. I'm going to move the hands to reach the bar. Now, there are two things that you can do here. A, you can just adjust the right hand first, the right arm first, and attach and make it work so it is holding the bar, and then do a paste symmetrically afterwards. Or you can just do a mirror here immediately so you can have both hands doing the same thing at the same time, and that will save you a few extra steps doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and just use my mirror function because I think this would be the fastest way for us to actually do this. Now you will notice that the arms are going out of their sockets here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the shoulder blades and pull them down a little bit like so. And then also from the side, I'm going to make this a little bit more centered like so, like that. Alright, I just want to make sure that the palm of their hands over here are actually reaching the bar. So we got to go a little bit higher still. Now let's stretch the fingers outwards like so, just to make sure. And then with a little bit extra movement on the rotation on the shoulders here, we can line this up nicely. So I'm going to press the E key here for rotation, and let's pull the arms back a little bit, not too much. That looks good. All right. So next, let's go ahead and select the hands. And make sure that the hands are lined up with the bar there. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate the hands like so, like that, and move them a little bit forward like so. Alright, that looks pretty good. Next, maybe we can do a little bit higher with the arms still. Let's pull it up a little bit higher, just a little bit, not too much. That looks good. Now, with this working like so, this is good. Now let's go ahead and close the wrists, the hands actually, so they're grabbing the bar. Notice that obviously this is still a little too high, so I'm going to go ahead and lower this a little bit like that and push it forward so that it looks like it's actually holding the bar. So that's pretty good. So we got the fingers there holding the bar. The thumb is crushing into itself there, so I'm going to go ahead and select the thumb here and just do a little bit of rotation to get it out of there and make it feel a little bit better, like that and like that. There we go. Alright, so now he is grabbing onto the bar. So basically what we have here is a very simple jump and reach for the bar. Great. that looks a little bit fast, so we're going to slow down that motion a little bit. So I'm going to double click over here inside the motion layer track, and I'm going to delete the middle one here, so it does a little smoother motion going from about 100 to 115, I think, 117. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's a little bit smoother, it's not as abrupt. And what we'll do here is we'll go to a keyframe over here. We're going to do a reset key, so it doesn't have any influence from the motion layer track. And next what we're going to do is we're going to copy this key, and we are going to click into this tab and paste. So basically what we have now is the reach, and then he's going to be doing the pull up in the middle, and then he's going to release and land. Alright, that looks pretty good. The next thing we are going to do now is use the reach effectors, because you will notice here at the feet, while he is doing this little jump thing, there's a little wobble on the feet, so it's not staying locked on the ground. And this is what the reach effector is good for, to lock the feet down. So let's go ahead and go to the animation tab, go to reach target. I'm going to select both feet by pressing the control key, and then go reach effector. This gives me these two spheres over here. Notice here that we have the reach track, and it goes all the way throughout, and we don't want that because he is going to be jumping upwards and going to be lifting from the floor. So what we're going to do is we want to release the lock on the feet as soon as he jumps upwards. So let's go ahead and I'm using the on the keyboard the left arrow key and the right to walk through the timeline. And this looks like a good frame right there. So I am going to release. Notice that over here this gets clipped, and now when he lands back on the ground, we are going to let him go ahead and lock the feet again over there. So basically now what we have is some really solid locked feet. So I can show you here. Let's hide the reach effectors here, like so. Alright, so now if we play this motion from the beginning, you will notice that there is no wobble whatsoever when he jumps, and no wobble whatsoever when he lands. So they're rock solid on the floor. Alright, so we got that done. Next, let's go ahead and go for the arms. We want to lock those arms, those hands actually, on the bar once it reaches up. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to select the character here. And we want to go at this point right here. This is the point where we want to lock the hands. So again, using our reach effectors, we will lock those hands in there. So again, control click to select two of the same to select two reach effectors, and go ahead and turn that on. So we have our effectors on right now. Notice here that they're also here in the reach track for reach left hand and right hand. And then what we want to do is when he releases the bar, we want to also release the lock of the reach effector. So in here, we're going to go ahead and release. So when it lets go, and he lands. So that's exactly what we want. Okay, so this looks pretty good. So why are we doing this for, right? So we got to do one more, and this is, let's go in here to this key over there by selecting this key right there. So we are in the proper, we're all lined up, and what we're going to do also is create a reach effector for the hip. So we are going to turn it on by creating the reach effector. However, we also want to turn it off at the same time that we release the hands. So let's go ahead and release it at this point right there. Okay, so what we have right now is a very simple animation with some reach targets set up, but no motion whatsoever yet. Now you're gonna ask, so why do we need the wrist locks locked over here? Now notice we're gonna go ahead on the scene tab here. and select the hip. And before we do that, let me just select this bar and make it invisible so it doesn't get in the way, because we're going to be working mostly from this angle right here to do the pull-up animation. So I'm going to go ahead and select the hip in here. And actually, let's select the character first and turn this off. And then I am going to select the hip and turn this on and off again. So that way we have the character and the hip, all the tracks in here to the timeline, so you can line things up. So we have this going on right now, and I'm going to select the hip right now, which is what we have, and I make it visible. And you will notice here, as you can see, let's go ahead and make this smaller so we can see all the tracks. And now when we reach to this point right there, what's going to happen is if I move the hip, I'm going to go ahead and press W, you will notice now that because my hands are locked with the reach effectors, I can literally do push-ups like that just by animating it this way. So it's pretty easy. Not only you can translate, you can also rotate stuff. So pretty handy tool. So I'm going to go ahead and just undo this motion because we do not need it. And I'm going to fast forward now. I'm going to add a few keyframes so he can do the pull-up motion, and then I will stop when there is something really important for you to think about and learn. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and open up my motion layer editor here. And fine-tune the legs a little bit further by using our mirror function here for the IK and animating the legs. Again, I'm going to fast forward this so that you don't have to sit for here too long. Okay, so now, finally but not least, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this key and I'm going to paste it here. So they're both ending about the same way. There we go. Okay, very good. So now what we're going to do, now that we've done this, we are going to smooth out the transition, because you notice here when we go from here to there, it's a little bit abrupt. So in order to smooth out the transition, what you do is you actually go to your reach panel. So let's go ahead and close that out. And inside here, the reach, we are going to smooth out the transition of the hip, because this is where the popping is happening right there. See, 1, 2. So in order to smooth this out, you can actually select the end of this key, and I'm going to press the Control key to create a transition expansion. And by doing this and moving this around, what we're going to do is basically smooth out the transition from the reach to the release. So notice there that there is less of a pop there because it's becoming smoother. Now the same thing is happening with the hands, so let's go ahead and select both hands here by pressing Control, and I'm going to stretch these guys out so it does a smoother release, like so. So it's not so abrupt. There we go, that's a lot smoother right there. And then finally but not least, I'm going to go ahead and tweak the hand motion. Notice that right now it's going right through the bar. So the fingers are going right through the bar. So I'm going to add a few extra keyframes. I'm going to do this in fast forward mode and then stop it so you can see how the end result. But again, this is done quickly. It happens also at the beginning, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that up as well so that the fingers don't go through the bars. Okay, So after some adjustments and a few extra keys, this is what I got so far. Let me play it through. So looking good. So all we got left to do is I'll use our curve editor to fine tune a little bit the motion of the pull up and do a little bit of follow through on the limbs, and then we'll be done. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn on the hip so we can adjust the height of our hip, so we can control the height of the dummy. Turn that on. I'm going to select the sphere, I'm going to right click, curve editor, transforms. One thing to look out for here is that when you assign a reach effector, the first key is it creates a transition step. Here, if you want to smooth this out, what you can do is select the key, right click on it, go to curve and create default, and this will smooth out the curve if you need to do that. If you don't, you can just leave it as is. And then now all we're going to do is fix a little bit of pop here, over there. See how he extends the arms too much, creating that little pop. So we'll adjust the height, and then again we'll tweak the follow through. So we'll do this fairly quickly. So we're going to fast forward this because there's nothing new here that we need to address. Alright, here we go. Okay, in here, what I'm going to do is I've selected both the thigh for the left and the right hand side leg, so I can tweak both keys at the same time. So this will save us a little extra work, and we're going to be doing the secondary motion for those motions. Okay, in here, what we need to do is, since our clip ends before the other one starts, we're going to have to add a little bit of a few extra keyframes here so that we can do that follow through for the calves. So I'm going to go ahead and add an extra set of keyframes here so it auto extends. So see, now we have an extra keyframe there. So now we can go ahead and do our follow through with the curve editor. Okay, so now this is what we got so far. Jumps up, no popping, smooth. Notice the legs, how it does is a little bit of follow through as the legs go up, and then as the leg come down, there's a little follow through as well. And again, you can keep on tweaking until your heart's content, and you get the results you want. But this is basically all you got to do to fine-tune the motions. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will catch you on the next one. Until then, have a great day, and see you later.